Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus. I'm Chris Bianchi. Today it's Tuesday, November the 8th, and it's obviously Election Day. So some of you, I tend to procrastinate sometimes. I'm sure some of you do as well. Maybe you haven't filled out your ballots. You haven't had the opportunity to vote yet. Don't worry. We got tons of time to be able to do so as long as before 7 p.m. on election night. And even if it's 6:45 p.m. on election night, you still have time to do so. So let's start things off with a couple of things that you can keep in mind. If you're voting last second, your two main options to vote will be number one, going in person. And remember, if you are still in line, even at 7 p.m., you wait in line and your vote will be counted. So as a reminder, even if you're watching me at 6:45, 6:50 p.m., and you can just sprint over to that nearest polling location. We'll have more on where to access some of those polling locations here in the next few minutes. Remember, if you're in line at 7 p.m., you wait in line and your vote will eventually be tallied. So just stay in line if it's 7 o'clock. So that's one option. Number two is if you got mailed a ballot, and if you bring it to that ballot drop box location, to every county in Colorado has at least one. In Denver, there's 42. If you take it to a ballot drop box location by 7 p.m., your vote will again be counted. So those are the two main ways to vote if it is still a little bit on the last second side. So if you do have a ballot, as a reminder, you cannot mail it. Your last day to do so was on October the 31st, last Monday. So obviously it's way too late to take your ballot and mail it at this point. But if you drop it off, again, those ballot drop box locations, and at 9news.com/politics, we have a full list of where to access those drop box locations. As a reminder, I just said this about a minute ago, each county in Colorado is required to have at least one drop box location. Most counties have quite a few of them. The more population, the more Dropbox locations there are. A little bit of reference about there is one Dropbox required for every 12,500 Coloradans. So most likely there is one close to you. So again, you drop that off by 7 p.m. You will have your vote counted. So this is important. We have two main links for you. One, start things off with our own website here at 9 News, 9news.com/politics. We have a full listing of where you can access those Dropbox locations and also those in-person voting locations as well. In some cases, they're one and the same. In some cases, there's just a ballot Dropbox location. In some cases, there is just an voting person option. But again, you can access all of that not only at 9news.com, but also on the Colorado Secretary of State's website. There's a full listing. It's pretty easy to look up. I just did it a couple minutes ago. You just go in, you plug in your zip code, you find the nearest one, you either drop off your ballot or you go vote in person, and it's done. And again, final reminder here is if you're in line at 7 p.m., you can still vote even if it's after 7 o'clock. So just get in line by 7 o'clock. So if it is 6:50, you can still go out there and vote as long as you have an in-person voting location within 10 minutes of you. Obviously, when we get our ballots, there's a lot to go through. It's not just the governor's race. It's not just those big statewide races that have drawn the majority of the attention here in Colorado. There's also all the propositions that you're voting for, and the verbiage is quite confusing. I can tell you firsthand, going through the ballots, my fiance and myself, it's been a little challenging at times to figure out what exactly you're voting on. We break it down for you at 9news.com/politics. We've got that full voter's guide. In fact, if you go to 9news.com/politics, I got it pulled up right here on my computer. You just go up to the very top. There's a 2022 voter guide, little tab, and it breaks down everything that you're voting on. So again, if you're procrastinating, you're trying to figure out what to do here last second, can I vote? It's a little bit late. A couple things. One, the weather's awesome. Two, it's your duty as an American citizen, right, to go out and vote. And three, it's pretty easy here in Colorado. It's, in fact, really darn easy. And as long as you're in line by 7 o'clock and you pull up on your phone that voter guide, again, 9news.com/politics, you can vote and you can get it done. So, no excuses. I'm not here to lecture. I'm here to just say that it is easier than you probably think to vote You either drop off your ballot, you wait in line, and you'll have it counted. We'll probably know our results here in Colorado pretty quickly. About 7:30 to 8 o'clock, we'll get that big voting done, because the fact here in Colorado that we get so much of our voting done by mail that those ballots have been tabulated over the course of the last few days, I think a few cases the last few weeks. So as a result of that, those votes have been mostly tabulated already. And so by about 7:30, 8 o'clock, we're going to get a big vote dump that'll probably give us a good idea about where things stand in a lot of the big races. That said, there are a few close races that we might not know the results of until early Wednesday morning. There's nothing facetious going on. What it is that if the ballot or one of those races, one of those propositions, or maybe even the 8th Congressional District, or even one of the top line statewide races, something's really, really close, we might not know until early on Wednesday morning, or even later in the day if it's really, really close. That just tends to happen. Sometimes there's really close races, and it does take time to count those ballots. And also, for those of you keeping track of national politics, some of those rules here in Colorado are very different than what they are in different parts of the country. Here in Colorado, over 1 million people have already voted, and those votes have already been counted. In some of those other swing states, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Arizona, that I was mentioning, they either can't count until election day itself or after the polls close. And as a result of that, it's going to take a long time for those votes to be tabulated. And because of that, it may be a few days, and in some cases, it could even be a full week until we fully know the results of some of these elections. There's nothing facetious going on. It is simply, it takes time to count millions and millions of ballots. So just as a final reminder on that. But here in Colorado, I think we're pretty fortunate to have the rules that we do, where, again, we're going to know the results of the elections. Most of the elections we should have a pretty good idea of by late on election night itself.